I'm excited about her topic, and I'm excited about having her here speaking because she's such an excellent speaker. But I'm also so excited about seeing all of these plants. They look so healthy. I'm not used to looking at healthy plants. For those of you who don't know, I have the capacity to kill a plant within, probably 12 hours. There's something about my energy, I don't know whether it's too fast or too heavy or what, but poor little plants don't do very well with it.
Even artificial plants?
Yeah, I once killed a ficus, and it was a fake ficus, and a silk plant, and it got a yellow leaf that eventually fell off. I don't know how it managed, but it did. So, we're going to discover what your nature is telling you, and what some good old-fashioned nurturing can do for all of us as we surround ourselves with real life nature. And each one of you is a part of real life nature. And please welcome our wonderful Aminah.
Yay, Aminah!
Do you want this mic or that mic?
I think I'll stay behind
Are
the
the
podium.
plants going to talk into this mic here?
I'm the translator.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we need you up close to the mic so.
I don't know what that piece of white paper is, do you?
It was, it's the notes. It's the notes that we took a while back
oh,
that Judy
okay.
so kindly wrote.
Okay, thank you so much.
Here's
Why don't you fold it in half so we can just put it there?
Okay, I put it out of the way, in fact,
good
right
girl.
now.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you for your fabulous shining faces. I usually wander about, but we're gonna leave that. In this place, especially, you guys will all understand. You go with what that morning ends up being. You go with what you feel, and is that nature and nurture? I don't know. But it's tuning into you, and I get asked lately, well, why are you doing that? I don't know, because it's the right thing. And that's the best answer I can give. So just to introduce you to my babies, these are all, they were all dying. A couple of the little baby alyssums were no, but 99% of the plants that I adopt, first of all, are cheap, really cheap. So I go to the back of the nurseries and get the half dead, nobody watered, nobody took care of. And these, some have been with me 4 or 5 days, some have been with me for 4 to 6 weeks, and that's it. So this is part of, I just thought everybody did it. But I love the Beccalos. It's like the candy store for me. There's one past the white, he's just about this big, and he's just really, really struggling, but he's already getting a new leaf, and he's been with me 3 days. And the picture that you see, and yes, that's, my daughter and I were walking by in that big redwood, and I said, isn't he magnificent? My daughter said, really, it's a he? Why? I don't know. It is just the feeling, it's the energy. Plants, animals, we all have it. But is it nature, or is it nurture? And this is what I want you to start thinking about. In the corner by Wonderful Mel are the peacock feathers. No one died to give those. And I worked in a wildlife sanctuary for 10 years, and we had a lot of peacocks. And they were free roaming. Somebody, of course, had them on their property. Their neighbors hated them because they make a lot of noise. And they're great watch birds. And a lot of people get them for that reason, because they will scream and scream and scream because they're predators or something coming. So it's great on cattle ranches, but not the neighbors if you're too close together. So they drop these, the males drop these after breeding season. They don't need them anymore. It's just the bloom, and it's wonderful. So these I personally collected over the years that I was there, and that type of stuff. So they're part of the life. You think that this is just a byproduct, but it is part of their life cycle. So I really wanted to encompass that. And I do want to please thank Judy, because I don't typos. I don't decorate at all. She did the visuals and how it would all set up and all that, and I
I
really,
see you move the basket.
I did. All I did was just kind of scoot out. She said, "Don't touch anything." Okay. I didn't touch anything, but she did say, "That's lovely," and that's lovely, because I didn't have enough car space, and I'm very, very fortunate. She drove over last night with me. We filled up our cars. We brought all this stuff in because we wanted it to be special for everybody. And Corky and Dottie get here just too early for us to do that type of stuff. But life has layers. What is life? That's been a universal question since we all started. When does life start? A whole nother conversation. Are you born the way you are, or did you become the way you are? Yes. It's all of this and that type of stuff. So the debate will go on forever and ever and ever, and I put the literal translation that we posted in the bulletin so you can just see, this is what the dictionary says, one of them, because they'll have a little bit of change. So nature versus nurture debate is about influence, it's about attributes, it's about exposure, it's about experience. Pick something. It's about where you spent your day at lunch. The day I found CCL and walked in here for the first time, my path and who I was going to become changed, all for the better, because that's where I needed to be. When one experience ends, it might feel like a tragedy at the time. I thought I was in the dream job that I was going to be in for the next 15, 20, 30 years. But the dream started to fade. Reality kicked in, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm not sure I'm in the right place. And it was to be released from that experience and go, you're right. And my family said, no, it's time to come back up here. You did that. And everything fell into place for the new path. So is it nature? Or is it nurture? Is it the time or the experience? This is what I want you to think about on your own and through the process of us talking today. Philosophy, humans acquire almost behavior traits from nurture is known. They've quantified it, they've tabulated it, but is it your experience? The way I was raised, last of 5, coach, dad, stay-at-home mom, would not necessarily be your experience. We could live in the same state. California, it's its own country. You go from part to part, and it's totally different. We have great weather, but it's totally different from city to city, from our experiences, from our parents, and all of that type of stuff. So what do psychologists say? Oh, lots of things, and the knowledge changes moment by moment. What we know today, what I might talk about for this moment is not today, not necessarily true. And all of us in this place especially understand, for example, for me, I'm going through a lot of personal life changes and career life changes. And I once in a while get asked, well, why are you doing that? Right now it's, I don't know. Because, ... sometimes I know, and sometimes I'm not ready to know, and it's not time for me to know. But this took me a whole year to get here, to say, wait a minute, because I was one of those control people. I want to plan, I want to plan, I want to plan. I'm a very planned person. That's what project manager type people like me do. We plan so that you have the right clothes and the right skills and the right, pick something. I have had to learn to let it go. That planning to plan is to let it happen. That was my learning curve. One of hundreds. Is it your genes? Does your DNA predetermine you to how tall you'll be, how short you'll be, what color you'll be, what color eyes? Sure, science would say yes. And then you get somebody like me. My father, my mom, barely 5 feet something. I hit, now I've lost a few inches, that happens with time. I don't know if it did that for you. You must have been much taller. But for me, I was 5'6" by the time I was 12 or 13. And my dad was 5'2". My mom was maybe 5'2". So I was, and I'm the only blonde in the family, so I'm just like, okay. But that was my trajectory. Genes don't dictate what you have to be, what you must be. You get to decide. Is it nature or nurture? You get to decide. Fill your life full of nature. Fill your life full of nurture. But is that it? No. But again, you get to decide. Born with genes, give them normal height, malnutrition, childhood, abuse, non-abuse. What? The point of you seeing plants that were truly in trouble. This one in the big blue pot got 2 buds. When I got it, it completely collapsed. It was death row. It would have been in the dustbin. And because of what I now understand, I just thought I read a lot of really good gardening books, but I didn't do that until my 30s. Is I see the roots that are viable. I see the leaves that are viable. For the first week or 2 he was with me, I left most of it intact except for the black and dark leaves. And then 3-5 days ago, I cut all of that back. These 2 buds came up. The nutrients is changing. That's what you can do for you. Again, was it nature or nurture? Was it my true love of saying, you can do this, I believe it. I also understand that maybe this isn't your path. Maybe this isn't where you need to be. Now we've got a lot of sticks off of pots. Those, if you have a space for them, these plants were going to be thrown away. So I teach gardening with the city, and these plants were dug out of the ground because they were going to replant. And it's a giant plant. It's a sage something or other. Anyways, I have the bio on my phone.
Did you say it was a salvia?
Thank you. I knew there was a nest there. And so they will get very large and have this beautiful, like a lavender plume on them. And you can literally hack them back and off they come back. So these, please, I'm hoping somebody will take home their little buckets, and you can give me the buckets back if you don't need them. But they have been with me about 4 to 6 weeks, and they were in big trouble. And I have pictures of my back of my truck. I literally laid them out, and I found rootstock that were still viable, because some of it wasn't. But I hated to see them. They literally put the entire plant, which was this big, in a trash bag, and going to take it to the trash. And so for me, you're throwing life. You're throwing life away. So please, these types of things are looking for new homes and that kind of stuff. In the front here are rose bushes, and they're in bare root, meaning there's like 0 soil involved. But this was a different event, and there are probably 8 to 10 of them in there. And so we cut the ties away, and there's a tag on them, what kind of rose they are. And you can see in the bucket, it's growing. It's already growing. It's going, oh, hey. Because, again, every couple of days I'm out there, I put just a bare amount of soil in there because they're bare root. They could do just water. But I want to keep their roots viable because I knew they were literally left on a sidewalk after an event. And I'm like, I can't walk away. What am I going to do with 9 roses? I have no yard. So it's this kind of thing. You bring it to a family who can say, please, nature or nurture. I don't know, but this is the picture for me. Of course, it's a little kitty, and there's a tiger. If you don't see this, I'll go back to the microphone, Corky. If you don't see this, there's a white tiger on the other side. So this is something when my trajectory changed, and I decided I'm going to nurture me. I'm going to take my nature and my love language, which is animals, plants, and organic, and flip it on its head. So you really could go this way if you could read upside down. But I have worked with these. I have owned these. And what is it talking about? Change your mindset. Think outside the box. what you've done today or yesterday or every single day doesn't have to be repeated if it's not working for you. It doesn't have to be repeated. Let's see if we can get it back there. I want you, the reason to fill up this room also is to think about, are you just blooming? This one, again, $1. Near death. You trim all the bad off. You trim off the dead leaves. You trim off out of your life what no longer serves you. This is the big thing I think we all struggle with. Does it serve you? How do you quantify that? Well, that's personal. You can get input, you can get support from friends and family, people you trust. Really, really go with people you trust. And you resonate with their information. I have learned in this trajectory that you do sample lots of schools of thought because I'm learning to go outside the box, to look at it differently. So my education and the nurturing's coming from a different side. Or somebody I had thought, I'm not sure I understand the way they communicate or what they have to say, but there's value. And you go through that process of finding that value. Is it nature or nurture? It's both. I really, really want to hammer that home. It is both. It is how you show up to your life. You get to decide every single day, wake up and say, whatever is a great positive affirmation for you. Thank you for the sun being out. Thank you that I have breakfast. Thank you, I have a roof over my head. Or thank you that I have a dry pair of socks. Sometimes it's really basic. It's really basic. And we all have either sadly been there and going, okay, how am I going to pay rent? Especially in our state. And it's becoming the whole state. I'm not going to say just the Bay Area, because it's truly everywhere people are struggling. And then things happen. How do I get past this illness? How do I get that job? For me, it was really learning about manifestation and direction and making choices that move me forward. Do I have bad days? Do I need a little more nurture? Yeah. For me, my daughter's really great at this. She's like, go outside. I'm thinking, what? She's like, you know what I'm talking about. Go outside. Go sit with a plant. Go walk in a park. Go sit there. Because that's nurturing for me. To be in trees I can feel the air, all of that kind of stuff. Here's a really fun side story. So I'm, again, the youngest. And my dad, my two older siblings decided to go to college at the same time. Because my sister went to junior college, and then by the time they both went to college, and my dad had promised that he would pay the first year or two for them. So he's got two people in college at Cal Poly. He's like, and he's a teacher who barely makes $30,000 a year at that time, with 5 children. Okay, and of course a wife who has no full-time job except for us, which is her full-time job. So he decides to go up to Big Bear and log, which it's legal for any tree that has fallen. You can harvest the wood. And so he took us up there, and there's a million funny stories, and my brother rolling the log down the hill, because my dad said roll the log down the hill. The station wagon was at the bottom of the hill. And my dad kind of looked at him when it hit the car, and he said, you know, you could have moved over like 2 feet. And then he did it again 6 minutes later, and my dad's like, really? Big dent we came home with on that. But that was his way to get more income, to help them do the college thing. And I was the youngest, so I was to go out and find the wood. That was my entire job. Go out and find the wood. About 6 to 8 hours later, I mosey on back. And Dad said, okay, how much wood did you find? Oh, there's a lot of wood, but none we can use. And he's like, where the heck are you? And I would do this every time I take her out there. And again, I'm under 10 years old or something like that. I'm in my zen. I'm looking, talking to the birds. I had a blue jay follow me around for hours one day, and I'm talking to him and telling stories and all that kind of stuff. So again, go find where you are happy. And my dad gave up on me a long time ago. And there's the babysitter. Just go talk to the trees. And that kind of stuff. He didn't know I was talking to the trees. I did that on, because after a while, people look at you funny and go, yeah, I'm not going to do that in public anymore. That's not a safe space. But here's your other side note. Don't ever tell a 8 to 10-year-old, whatever age I was. He said, okay, get whatever you need. I need to go up on the hill. I'm going to go cut. Just put the keys under the seat and lock the door and come up and get me. Anybody catch on to that?
Yeah.
I heard that. So I did exactly what he said. I didn't think about it. Okay, I put the keys on the seat, walked up to him, and he says, "Where's the keys?" "Oh, you told me to put them on the seat. I put them on the seat." And I locked the doors. I locked all the doors down. No AAA in the middle of nowhere. No cell phones. I did, and he went, "Okay, yeah, that's on me." So we had the little wings. Remember the wings?
Visor windows.
It was hilarious. The one time I could have just not done what he asked, but that I didn't think about it. I never let him live that down. I said, "You want me to put the keys away, Dad?" And he's like, "Nope. Nope, no keys for you." But you get these memories, and we get to laugh about them later. So don't think tragedies are all. It's hard to go through them. Absolutely. Watching my best friend's parents' death on the 8 o'clock news was devastating. That woman was my mother. Her dad was an Air Force pilot, and they crashed while he was taking a couple of them to dinner in Barstow. But it changed our paths, changed our directory, and in that 3 years, I went to 10 funerals. And as I'm listening to all this, and the grandfather, uncles, whoever they all were, my grandfather's brothers, all 6 of them, back to back. And I finally walked up to my parents and said, "Did anybody stop and say, 'You are wonderful, I love you, love your hairdo, hope you have a great day'?" All those things they say at the funerals, and he was a wonderful man. I must have heard that a million times. Did anybody stop and offer some nurture to the live one? And I never got an answer. So please, think about how you nurture. Think about how you go up to somebody and say, "Thank you for being glad I'm here. Thank you for smiling. Thank you for telling me that joke." Or some days, it's just that hug. And this is the place for that. This is the place where you come and say, "I'm having a little bit of a day." And I appreciate that all of you do this. Because we all know, we've all had those bad days. We've all needed those hugs. We've all needed the choir to sing to us and say, "Okay, just let it go." This is a place to let that go. This is a place where you're getting that nurture. So what I'm asking you to keep doing is, I'm just going to throw out lots of suggestions, because one of them is going to stick for you. One of them is going to be the peacock feather that you're going to prance around for a while, and then you'll drop it. It no longer serves you. But just guess what? Next year you get to grow another one. And you can be the girl. And you can be anybody you want. Because you decide every day, is it nature or nurture? Every day you get to make that decision. Every day you decide, who serves me? Where am I best used, loved? What new job do I need? And how do I make that happen? And again, not to harp this into the whole, except for Donnie will love this, Corky has 1 million classes, as you just heard today. In places like this, there's things all over the Bay. But that you can learn manifestation. You can go to drum circles. You can find out what business, job, career, get a path, get a reading. There's 1 million things that you can research just in this one building. Can you imagine if you opened yourself up to the rest of the county, much less to the state we live in? Now, Mel, if you would be so kind, because I'm not supposed to lift too many things, there is a little bitty cactus. If you pick him up on the step from the bottom of the pot, please.
Don't touch.
Well, he can, but we'll hear him go, "Ah!" and he might drop it. So this lovely little boy. Look at our Vanna White. Oh, he's so lovely. Van White. I'm sorry. Van White.
No, Vanna was a,
So I don't know if you can see, but one of the little bitty nodules is not attached at the top. Can you pick him up at all, that little bitty piece? Look at that skill. If you'll see this piece, about, I don't even know, 15, maybe 20, I don't even know how long ago, let's say 15 years ago, I went to a garden club thing with my mother in the desert, and a woman brought something as big as this pot, but imagine this big, so 3 times that big. And I took home that, and it became that. This is one of those plants who you don't do anything to. But I'm not recommending you actually get one because it's the wrong feel for your office. A prickly thing that people should not get here. I'm not going with that metaphor. But this is also, please, take a piece. And all I did, because I was in, thank you, yay, Mel. I did what he did. I had a change for something. Where do I put a cactus? I'm in Southern California. I'm like 6 hours from home. Where do I do it? And I asked her, and she said, no, take one. It really will grow, because hers, and it flowers.
Yeah.
It flowers. They're beautiful little daisy white flowers, and it comes out every summer. And so it's all covered. This was a little bit smaller than what Mel picked up, and I put it in my change purse. And you know how many times I run into that? Because in those days we used change. You know, pennies, dimes, nickels. Now it just sits in my wallet. Because there's that ATM little credit card thing. And I carried around, I forgot about it. I was in Southern California for a week, and then I found it a month later in my change purse. And all I did was take that little thing and said, well, what's the harm? And I stuck it in a pot of soil, because this is the only kind of soil I had, was actually potting soil. This is a cactus. It doesn't need potting soil. It's too rich for it typically. But I was like, I don't know, let's see if it grows, because by then it was a little shriveled, and that kind of stuff. And this is what it grew. This is over 10 years old. It grows very slowly. I have no idea how I'd ever transplant that, so it's not going to get it, but you guys are going to cut it down. And all you do literally is you just push off a piece. It's that simple. For me, I'm used to handling cactus and many other things because I also worked a lot with hedgehogs. And oh yeah. So I was one of the demonstrators, and I always held them gloveless because you guys are going to understand this. Speaking to the choir, it's a gentle hand. It's a gentle hand. A lot of you do hand work and all that kind of stuff, and there's a difference between, you know, I'm giving you a back massage, and I'm doing a gentle hand, and that kind of stuff. This was with a hedgehog. He's very spiky, so a gentle hand. And I tried to teach this to a young man, and he eventually got it, but I had to explain like 900 because you're trying to get an imaginary. You were nurturing.
So if anybody doesn't want to pick themselves, would you help us?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
And also, they have silverware and they have little spoons, and we can just pick them off.
Oh, okay.
And we can be magical. And we have a little.
in Ziploc bags?
You can. But remember, I left it in my change purse for whatever long. But Ziploc bags are tight, so my wallet's not because of the portions of fabric. So I would hesitate to how long you leave it in there because it'll even. Zip it. Well, yeah, then it rolls around wherever you. And if you get one small, like Mel, he's gonna wash his.
that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I know, but you know, it's in his pocket. I don't know about you, but how many times do you get into your shirt pocket anymore?
I know, since I quit smoking.
Well, thank God. And you don't take off your glasses. I've never seen you know, like my uncle had reading glasses, and then, so anyways, you might, and he'll love it because of the little water. He won't like the soap.
A little plug for your psychic.
Please.
I've been eyeing this plan and wanting to ask for a piece of it.
Oh, see?
So-
And it's sitting right there. Thank you, Mel. Big hug. Virtual. But that's lovely. But again, the idea is I want you to take life home with more than what you came today. A lot of the other plants were lessons, and it's so neat to be where I'm at, because I go home and I come from the doctor or whatever, and I go, is today a Lowe's day? And it would be, and I'd find the next one that needed to come home with me. And then, is today a Lowe's day? No. I was like, but can I go? No, because I also have a very weak knee on taking too many things.
I'm not
Go
allowed,
ahead, Mel.
I'm not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, see, we have to be banned from certain activities, because of health. Yes.
I have a question about taking it home, like you left it in your wallet and it survived and stuff. But I mean, if you don't get it in the ground right away, but what if you put it
Don't
in
put
the
it
water?
in, don't put it, no. It's
It'll
a
die.
It's a cactus, you'll drown it.
It'll die.
It would be better if you left it in your shirt pocket
Right,
or your
and so
wallet.
you just put it in the
And,
ground.
and don't put it in the ground. It,
You just, I mean, leave it
it
on
put
the
it in a
ground.
contained environment.
Yes.
Let me tell you this also, I'd run around, but Corky wants a microphone, so I'm gonna stay here, because last time I ran around. These little baskets, the dollar store, the dollar store, the dollar store.
Right.
The dollar, okay, so you could literally get any size pot you want, except for the clay ones and these bigger ones that I've had for a long time. I'm not working anymore, it was budgeting, but I needed and wanted to really bring life to this talk, and I'm doing another one coming up, and they'll be even more magnificent as they recover. Because the pansies, all from Lowe's in the back, and so they were all $1 or less, one was 89 cents. But you can get a cheap pot of any shape or form and put dirt from outside.
Right.
Cactuses don't need
I
this.
live in an artist community, so I don't really have a home, but outside there's all kinds of pots and stuff.
And that's
So I would
great.
just put it in one of their, so I would just leave it in one of their, they have lots of stuff growing, ivies and stuff. I don't put it in the soil, just leave it out and it'll grow.
Well, and even if you keep the cap exposed and cover the bottom, again, you want it to have a little bit of contact, direct contact with the soil. But again, you could go out and get sand. It's a cactus. There's a lot, it doesn't
okay.
need, it doesn't
So I
want.
can put it in a cup with sand.
That cup right there, great recycling, because you know what's
Okay.
really neat with the
Oh.
cup? As far as
Paper.
I remember I haven't touched your cups in a while, there's no plastic
Right,
coating
it's
on it.
paper.
It's all paper, so it will biodegrade when you get ready to plant it in a pot in dirt. Now, I have potting soil, so again, my little sample was in my wallet forever. And then I went home and went, oh, I only have rich soil. Let's see if it works. It will tolerate it. It will go, and maybe that's why I maybe got more growth pretty quick, but this is 10 years, it's not that fast. It's a cactus.
Yeah.
And that's why I can give as many pieces as I want away, because it will grow back. And I would rather see you have the joy, and when it starts, the first floweries I got to see, it was like, oh, it's like a little daisy plant. And you do hardly nothing. I never water that. That's God's job. We get enough rain. Great, thank you. So, any questions, please let me know. Dottie's saying we're gonna fit it up, but it's both. You are both natured and nurtured, and it needs to be cared for every day, in every way. Any questions?
No, so people can take some of those, what exactly?
Only the cactus,
Only cactus.
Only the cactus.
only the cactus.
No,
And the lavender ones, sorry, the big ones in the, but if you don't need the baskets, please return them to me.
Yes.
But the other, they're,
We should probably put.
Judy, what are they called again?
Salvia.
Salvia. And I have a picture of what it looks like. It's going to get very big.
It's
I have
a
a
very
suggestion.
beautiful place.
Yes,
We put all the things that you
please,
want
and
to
that's why
don't,
they're all down there.
well, the roses are over there, right? You want
Oh,
the
right.
roses?
Right.
If we put all the things that are for sharing in
That would
one
be great.
space, then people would not
That
get
would be
confused
great.
and take some of your other things.
That would be great. So yeah, we'll just do, cause there's a little, Mel, do you mind holding that little tray up? Just do it gently, cause it tips really easy. I also planted seeds, which these little cups can go straight into the ground, and these are wildflowers.
Oh,
These are wildflowers. And seeds are, I've never been really successful at seeds as many times as I'd like, but you can see some are coming up. So again, please take 1 home, 2 home, 3 home. We got so many people here, help yourself. So those, we will line them all up with what I'd like to see go home with you.
Yay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Strawberry baskets make good starters, right? As long as you don't put them in the ground. Yeah.
They can. You're talking about a plant that needs a great deal of care, a great deal of food, on a constant basis, and not drying out for very long. So and again, after services, feel free to give me, talk to me afterwards and that kind of stuff. Class is at 12:30, so I'll have plenty of time to answer questions.
Okay, I want to mention one thing.
Absolutely.
Ready for this? I have planted a wonderful field of flowers. And
Are they
you-
growing?
And you can see them probably in about a month if you go over the grapevine. Because when I was a little kid, I used to get all these poppy seeds and throw them on the fields.
Uh-huh.
And
There you go.
now you can see them. But
That's
that was
wonderful.
all. I didn't hold them very long.
You were supposed to release them, and as long as nobody does what they did last year and lay in them, did everybody see these pictures online, people laying in the fields of poppies?
Oh, that was fun.
And of course they decimated them because they walked through, but I need a selfie. I was like, oh God. Yes, don't even get me started on the selfish thing. And that kind of stuff. Nature is to be enjoyed.
Thank
By
you so
everyone.
much.
Yay!